Okay, we need to talk about what Carlos King just teased for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 12. Because one minute he's hyping the new season, and the next we're somehow talking about Martell Holt, his baby mama Destiny, and NeNe Leakes. That combination alone tells you Season 12 is going to give us plenty to chew on. Carlos has already called this the season of all seasons, which, let's be honest, is basically part of the standard Carlos King promo package at this point. Every season is bigger, crazier, more shocking than the last, according to him. But one storyline actually caught my attention this time. Destiny is reportedly being pulled into the Season 12 conversation in a way that's got people wondering what's really going on between her and Martell. Before anyone runs with that, Carlos himself said he doesn't believe there's ever been anything intimate between Martell and Destiny, and he doesn't believe there's anything beyond friendship between them now. So no, we don't have confirmation that they're secretly together. What we have is a producer teasing a storyline built to make people ask questions. That distinction matters, and once you hear what Carlos said next, it gets a lot more interesting. Let's back up first. If you've followed the show, you know Destiny isn't exactly new to controversy. Her history with Martell and the rest of the cast has been picked apart by fans for years, and people already have strong opinions about her. So when Carlos brought her back into the conversation, the obvious question was, why now? Why revive this dynamic specifically? Is something actually new happening? Or is production just finding another angle on an old storyline? That's where my skepticism kicks in. Because reality TV runs on a pretty predictable formula. Take an existing relationship, add a little uncertainty, put everyone in the same room, then let the audience spend months arguing about what they think they saw. And it works, because the second you create a question without an obvious answer, fans start doing the investigative legwork themselves, analyzing conversations, replaying scenes, reading body language, cross-referencing old episodes with new ones. A storyline that started as a simple co-parenting situation turns into the biggest thing on social media. Here's what makes Carlos's comments interesting, though. When he was asked about Martell and Destiny, he didn't just wave the idea off. He gave a fairly specific answer, saying that as of that point, he didn't believe anything intimate had happened between them. That should have been the end of it, right? Except he also suggested that if something eventually surfaced that contradicted that, it could unravel a lot of things from the past. That's the part that made me raise an eyebrow. I'm not saying he confirmed anything, he explicitly said the opposite. But when you tell viewers, I don't believe this happened, while also implying a future revelation could have real consequences, people are naturally going to keep watching for it. That's what gives this storyline legs. Not because we know there's a secret relationship, we don't, but because the question itself has become the entertainment. Carlos knows exactly what he's doing here. It's a classic reality TV tease. Don't hand the audience an answer, give them just enough to go dig for it themselves, and let the season do the rest. Right as that conversation was heating up, Claudia Jordan threw another name into the mix, NeNe Leakes. That's where things got even more interesting to me, because bringing up NeNe wasn't really necessary to talk about Martell and Destiny, which is exactly why it stood out. Once you're already talking about casting decisions, controversial storylines, and people with a history of conflict with the franchise, dropping NeNe's name changes the whole conversation. Claudia was essentially asking whether the same grace being extended to other controversial personalities could also apply to her. If you know the history between NeNe and Carlos, you know that name carries weight. There's been public tension between them before, including NeNe speaking out about Carlos and the network, and Carlos has previously said she wouldn't be appearing on the show because of that history. So Claudia bringing her up in a conversation about second chances wasn't a random name drop, at least not to me. It read like she was putting a second question on the table. If someone can have conflict with the franchise and still find their way back in, why not NeNe? What's notable is that Carlos didn't really engage with that comparison. He steered things back to the storyline everyone was already discussing. That doesn't automatically mean he was dodging it. We don't know what was going through his head, but from where the audience is sitting, it was noticeable. Sometimes the moment that doesn't get addressed ends up being just as telling as the one that does. And NeNe Leakes is one of those names that shifts the temperature of a room the second it comes up. So Claudia, dropping it here, definitely added another layer to the conversation. As for the Destiny and Martell storyline, I don't think "are they secretly together" is actually the most interesting question, since we have no confirmation either way. The better question is why this dynamic is being spotlighted right now. Destiny and Martell already have history. They share a child. They're both part of the same reality TV universe, and their interactions have already been public. So if production is putting this front and center for season 12, there's presumably a reason they think viewers will care. Maybe something genuinely shifted. Maybe there's a new disagreement. Maybe people around them are questioning the relationship. Or maybe production just knows that putting these two names side by side is enough to get people talking. Honestly, all four are plausible, and that's both the appeal and the frustration of reality TV. Sometimes you're watching something unfold naturally, other times you're watching producers take a small spark and put a spotlight on it, and you don't always know which one you're getting until the episodes air. That's why I'm not jumping to secret romance as a conclusion. I'd rather see what the season actually shows. If something's really there, the episodes will tell us eventually. If there isn't, we're looking at a storyline built almost entirely on suspicion. Either way, production has already gotten one result. We're talking about this before the season has even premiered, and that's not an accident. Back to Carlos's wording for a second, because it's what keeps this alive. If he'd simply said, "No, absolutely not, there's nothing there," this would be easy to dismiss. Instead, his answer reportedly left room for something to surface later. So now I want to hear from you. Is the Martell and Destiny storyline something genuinely new worth exploring in season 12? Or is production stretching an existing situation into a bigger TV moment? And what did you make of Claudia bringing up NeNe? Does she have a point about second chances? Or is that a completely different situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this one's going to be debated. And if you want more love and marriage Huntsville breakdowns and the moments everyone's talking about, make sure you're subscribed, because if Carlos is calling this the season of all seasons, we're probably going to have a lot more to unpack. I'll see you in the next one.